I always look backwards first because as journalist, I always ask where people come from. Because if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you are, then you don't know where you're going. And then again, if you're not a litmus test for people you serve, then that's hypocrisy. So I always look back to know where I come from and then ask people to look back to know where they come from. It's just the same.
Justin Breen is back on the Retire As You Desire podcast. Justin, today is the 6th-year anniversary of you losing your job, with your salary being cut in half. And look where you're at now. Just the most miraculous action taker, confidence, going out there, making things happen. And now you have 2 global companies and you work with the highest level entrepreneurs on the planet. The floor is yours, my friend. What's the past 6 years been like for you?
Hey man, you helped me come up with the title for Epic Life book. So thank you. And then naming my years as one of the chapters. So 2022 was Epic Life. And I am just so grateful. I'm just so grateful. I want to hear because I want to hear your thoughts on this, because I know dates are an important thing for you about, you starting companies and honoring your mom and birthday and when you started your most recent company. And so I want to hear your thoughts on that, because I like to look back and reflect on what dates actually mean. So
there's always meaning behind them. And there's ways just to celebrate those moments. Like today's a huge, important moment, because if that didn't happen, we don't know where life would take us. We don't know what that journey is like. And without those struggles, those hard times, or your salary being cut in half, where would you be now? You have no idea. We don't know these things. They're meant to happen for us to become
100%.
a new person.
Well, I don't know because I don't know if we had talked about this before, because we talk at least once or twice a week when it's not recorded. But I met I'll tell your listeners, your viewers, audience, this story, because it's a good one, and I think everything in life is summed up in this one story. I think so, anyway. So I was getting a COVID vaccination a couple months ago, and I was just waiting there. And then next to me, there was a guy wearing a World War II hat, World War II veterans hat. And so when I see someone like that, I always try to talk to them, because I know but maybe not everyone knows. My father was 61 when I was born, and he was a World War II veteran who was shot down multiple times in combat, a hero, shot down many times without a parachute. Okay, so got back in the plane. So that's my entire litmus test for anyone. Like, can you get back into a plane after another one has been shot down without a parachute? Or are you making excuses? I don't understand excuses. So anyway, I was talking to this guy. He's 95. He's still practicing law. I've been thinking about this too lately. So my father was an attorney, in Nuremberg trials, and then was an attorney, Nazi war crimes trial. And so this person, Thomas Cernek, he's still a practicing attorney in Illinois, probably the longest practicing attorney in the state currently. So I'm like, oh man, I got to get your business card. And so he gave me his card, and then I just met with him about a week ago and spent 2 hours in his office just listening to him tell his life story. Okay, so his wife of 64 years died about a year ago. His last living friend died a month ago. He's the youngest of 9 siblings. Youngest of 9. He's the only one of 9 to go past 4th grade in education.
Wow.
Grew up in the far northern upper peninsula, far northern part of the upper peninsula of Michigan, copper mine area, basically in the wild. And then his mom, he said, rescued him and brought him to Chicago so he could get an education. Otherwise, he'd still be in the wild, he said. But then he was a World War II hero. served in the Navy. He was one of those guys that went to the beaches and then cleared out airstrips on the Pacific Islands. Like that's the most dangerous job.
Wow.
They sent you in first before before anyone else. So he survived that. And so okay, so wife dead, last living friend dead. He has children and grandchildren, about to have his first great grandchildren, and his son is an attorney with him. They share an office space. But essentially he's lost, all his living friends gone. So I go, okay, thank you for telling me that. All I want is answers. So like, okay, what is it? What is life to you? What is life to you? Okay, so this is the point of the story, but I think it applies. This is everything. This is everything. So one, again, his name's Thomas Cernick. One, serendipitous meetings of the right people at the right times. Serendipitous meetings of the right people at the right times. By the way, that's literally what I do all day, is create serendipitous meetings of right people at right times. And you and I met serendipitously at the right time. Okay, no doubt about that. Okay, so that's one. Two, be early, be brave, be honest. Be early, be brave, be honest. Okay. Three, always stay in the battle. Always stay in the battle. And that's what he tells his grandchildren. That's what he was telling me. So that's it. Job salary cut in half. Figure it out. Tough situation happens. Figure it out. Always stay in the battle, because that allows you to have serendipitous meetings of right people at right times.
When you stay in the battle, I mean, you were in a battle when you first started because you contacted 5,000 people to start getting your first amount of clients. I mean, the majority of people on this planet would never contact 5,000 people to try and get a client, let alone succeed and make a business out of it. And 6 years later, now you have a new one. What's that journey been like for you?
Well, it's the same thing. That's why what Thomas said, like how it works is I talk to ideators like you and Thomas, and then they say something. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll do that. So all the new company is technology to create serendipitous meetings with the right people at the right times, for people who always stay in the battle and who are early, brave, and honest. I mean, that's really so. And then if you're not a litmus test for people you serve, you're hypocrites. So I mean, creating serendipitous meetings of right people at right times is what I do all day. And then technology is what is being used to create more serendipitous meetings of right people at right times.
And then
Yeah.
what's next for your future? Like what do the next 6 years look like for you?
That's your brain, my friend. I bet you can answer that better than me. All I know is I will continue to make serendipitous meetings of right people at right times and continue to be early, brave, and honest, and then always stay in the battle. What that leads to, I have no idea what that's going to lead to. I don't know, but I know I will always stay in the battle. You are future brain. I am not.
That's okay. That's okay. But taking yourself back over these 6 years, I mean, 6 years is a long time. How much more time do you spend with your boys and your wife now that, you know, the salary was cut in half and now
Yeah.
you had to go create for yourself? Like, how much more family time have you been able to invest because of that
Yeah.
incident 6 years ago?
So 6 years ago was a journalist and spent 3 days in office and then between 2 and 4 days um, talking to people on phone and writing stories remotely. Usually weekends I was with my family, although there were times when stories came up or interviews came up. And so the greatest part of entrepreneur life by far is that at the time when job salary cut, my kids were, let's see, I want to do the math real quick. They were 4 and 2, and now they are 8 and 10. That would make sense because 4 and 2 plus 6 equals 8 and 10. Okay, good. So I got that right. and
Pulled out the
and
calculator in case you
hey,
guys aren't,
you
aren't
know,
watching this
I
on
got a
YouTube.
so this is how great math is. I got a 35 on my ACT in math, and this is what my math is. 36 is perfect score. I got 35. I can barely add. That's kind of funny. But with Colby, I'm good. I got a 35 in Colby Colby scores. Maybe a 36 in that. But before COVID and after starting entrepreneur, I spent more time with my sons than any dad I ever met. Now I just spend more time with them. So greatest gift of being entrepreneur is being, able to see my children all the time. It certainly wouldn't have been that way had I stayed in journalism or gotten a job at some other company, or it just wouldn't have worked like that. So that's the thing I'm most grateful for, is that because my dad died when I was 13. He was 61 when I was born, so he'd be 107 if he was alive now. So I know what it's like not to have a dad around it. So very grateful for that. Lots to be grateful for today, Bill.
Yeah,
Lots
you have that attitude of gratitude going on today.
every day, but especially today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get it wrong about seeing how much progress you've made. You want to measure yourself backwards. People don't understand like how far they've come in life.
Yeah.
All the great things, whether it's starting at a salary, being at a new salary, family, kids, new house, career, whatever it may be, new companies, measure backwards. And that's what you've been doing, I think, today, or leading up to today, seeing that whole progress from where you've been, where you're at now, that family time. That's powerful in and of itself.
Well, one, thank you. Two, again, I'm not a futurist, and you are high. So for you are number one future. So like, for someone like you, that's probably harder to do. And then I always look backwards first, because as journalist, I always ask where people come from, because if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you are, then you don't know where you're going. And then again, if you're not a litmus test for people you serve, then that's hypocrisy. So I always look back to know where I come from, and then ask people to look back to know where they come from. It's the same formula, but I don't live in the future. I've never have. I don't. It's always been confusing to me. Have always lived in the present or the past for sure, or at least understanding the past, and that allows me to understand the future better. But that's why I'm so grateful, because like today I get to pick up my kids at school, and then I know very near term future I get to spend tomorrow with them at their soccer games, and then watch the Super Bowl with them. I mean, that's as far into the future as I'm going.
And that's okay.
Sunday.
Yeah. All right. Let's look back over the past 6 years then, because you're good at that. What are three things, Justin, that really stand out to you from a memory standpoint, from levels of achievement over the past 6 years? Are there three things that stand out to you?
Well, um one is taking the kids on a baseball trip last year by myself. I can barely take care of myself, so taking two boys by myself, wild children, across the Midwest for a week without my wife, that's one.
Who are 7 and 9, by the way,
At
at
the
that time.
time, yeah, at the
Yeah.
time, that was, and then I'm taking them again this year. We don't know where we're going yet, but maybe the Midwest, maybe further out west, maybe south. We'll see. But so that's one. Two, having Peter Diamandis write forward for newest book. That's a very big deal.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean, I still haven't met Peter in person. We're, first time meeting, and we'll be at Abundance 360. I'm scheduled to go there in person this time. Three, I would guess starting I wouldn't guess starting second company with Mark Fujiwara. I mean, we've met twice in person. So to start a invite only connectivity platform with someone that you've only met twice in person, that's it's pretty interesting. And that one's starting to get really exciting.
Yeah.
I've learned patience, and now I'm starting to see how Mark's and your world works in the financial world, how things take time. So that's very exciting to see that progress.
Yeah, time is your best friend in the financial world. Things just take time. Everything takes time. Just gotta take action and go for what you want in your life. And that's how you find your true meaning. You have to take action. So if it doesn't work out, it's okay. You learn something new. You have to go for it, just like you did. And I have so much respect for you for taking that hard situation and turning it into really a life freeing opportunity for you and your family. So it's pretty cool.
Every day it gets cooler and cooler, I think.
And who knows what the next 6 years are going to entail. And 6 years from now, we're going to
Oh
look at the
man,
show. Boom,
you're
I'm already
funny.
there. Already there.
You're so funny, man. Oh man, you're out. I like. It's just funny having a brain like yours. Even I mean, I can understand it, but I can't. Like, it's just because my brain just doesn't. It just doesn't go there. It just. I don't think it ever will. Um, you know, the next 6 days will be interesting, but 6 years. I mean, if you would have told me 6 years ago I'd be doing this now, I would not have believed it. I just
You
wouldn't.
do it all day too. I mean, you do so many interviews, so many shows. That's really what
That's
you're
the
good
way
at.
to learn. That's the
Yeah.
way to create serendipitous meetings of right people at right times. That's
And
what
stay in the game.
it's the same formula. I mean, so that's what I mean. Thomas Cernick, that's the ultimate. He's a visionary. He's 95. He's turning 96 on April 13th. I turned 46 on April 10th. So he's
Mm.
literally 50 years and almost 50 years older than me. So I'm visiting him April 14th again just to talk to him. But that's all this entrepreneur stuff. That's great. But he's like, that's the ultimate. That's someone who's lived it. He's not, he said he'll easily live to 100. That's the ultimate, man. I'm so
Legendary.
grateful that guy's alive, man. I'm so grateful because like Andy reminds me of my dad a lot too. So it's like I actually think my dad had something to do with he and I meeting that, or him and me meeting. That wouldn't surprise me in any capacity.
It's not random. It's
No,
definitely not random.
serendipitous.
That's the word of the day.
Oh, that's the new. Well, I even changed like a lot of my social media to, uh, I put serendipitous meaning creator. That's what I've changed a lot
Hey,
of that
I
to
like
say that.
that.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
was not my idea. I talked to Hugh Massey, who's a 7762 genius, met him through Abundance 360 and did a show like this. And then he followed up with an email because he's a 7762. And he's like, oh, I really like serendipitous meeting creator for you. I'm like, okay, sure. I will add that to social media. Thank
Done and done.
you. Ton. Exactly.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's all celebrate Justin's accomplishment. 6 years. Incredible work, my friend. 6 more years, 60 more years. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But thank you for tuning in to the podcast. As always, Justin, it's great to have you on again.
You're a great American, a great visionary, a great husband, and great dad.
There we go. Everyone, tune into the new shows every Monday and Thursday. Thank you.